time. So, okay, so today we will continue with session 15, right? So this time last week we covered the first task type in writing task one, which is line graphs, right? So now, okay, Ling is here. Nga, can you help me remind everyone what is a line graph?
uh like graph, there's graph that have been uh
A line graph is the graph that has lines, basically. Yeah,
basically
yeah, it's just a so whatever graph it is, okay, it's just a way to visualize data. Okay. So I mentioned last time that IELTS academic the IELTS academic test is kind of a simulation of quantitative and qualitative research, right? Because research is something that is expected of students to be able to do when they are in a university context. In Vietnam, it's not too strong. Like our research culture is not strong because we're a developing country, right? Our universities are very new and yeah, and not all universities are capable of producing quality and effective, helpful research, right? But for English speaking countries or Western countries in general, research is kind of like a yeah, it's something that is evident. It is expected of university students. So that's why people who want to study abroad, right? They have to take the IELTS because yeah, that's kind of like the stepping stone to to a academic level that is definite that is definitely going to require research skills. Okay, so welcome back to Link. So yeah, we're just starting and warming up a little bit. So I just asked now what is a line graph? So yeah, a line graph is just a graph with lines. That's it. So all of these different task types in writing task one are just different ways to visualize data. So um, I'm not sure if any of you or if either of you are familiar with statistics or like running statistical analyses. So, for example, if you're working in a corporate environment and you have to do market research, right, to see okay what like how would the public receive the product that our company is trying to put out into the market, right? So we have to kind of put out surveys and get in numbers. So we're going to have like really large data set. Yeah, and then of course we're not going to be able to say anything out of that big chunk of data. So yeah, we have to in quantitative research we have to do statistical analyses and the output will usually be in the form of a graph because that's how people or that's how researchers read data, right? Read quantitative data. So yeah, so a line graph is just like the first kind. And today we will continue with bar graph and pie charts. So remember, IELTS writing task one is just a simulation, right? And it is a language test. So as long as you can identify what kind of graph is being presented to you. So is it a line graph? Is it a bar graph? Is it a pie chart, right? Yeah, you identify it and then you are able to use the appropriate language to describe the key trends in the graph. Then that's a success. Okay, it's really not difficult, really not difficult. So want to emphasize that so that gradually you'll become a lot more confident with this kind of task or report. Okay, so I have not had the time to check your homework yet. I will give you feedback, individual feedback through email because Google Classroom is sometimes not very helpful when it comes to correcting homework. So yeah, so these are some of the things that I just want to remind everyone a little bit. That now, Tiling, do you remember the band descriptor that I talked about this time last week? what does the IELTS test expect out of candidates? Chị Linh, we cannot hear you. Chị Linh, you are muted.
I do not remember exactly, but what is left in my mind is firstly is coherence and cohesion,
Mm-hmm.
lexical resource.
Wait, this is actually task achievement. Sorry, task achievement. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go through this slide very quickly because I just want to remind everyone to yeah, remember the structure that we discussed last time as a group, right? So I put you three, so Hua is not here today, but last time all three of you discussed in a breakout room to see from a sample report, right? To kind of dissect what is the structure of that report. And Chị Linh, you were I remember you were being like, "Oh, cái bài này hay thế." And I said, yeah, because it's a sample, right? So yeah, always remember that specific sample, not in the sense that you have to memorize it, but remember the structure that they kind of demonstrate for you, right? So what kind of graph is it, right? You put it in the introduction, what kind of graph? Answer the 3 questions. Make sure you can do that. What, when, and where. Yeah, and remember in the whole report, even in the body paragraphs, only mention the key figures, okay? Don't just pick out individual data points to report, because that's not the point of a report, right? You should be able to summarize. So only point out the key, the most significant points. And in terms of how the ideas are connected to each other, make sure to use cohesive devices. Okay, so yesterday Ling had the first speaking practice session, and in speaking, Ling, if you can remember, we also have to put in very specific discourse markers, right? So words that kind of connect things together. Moreover, however, on the other hand, right? Like firstly, secondly. So very explicit words that showcase that you are actively connecting the sentences or the ideas together, and not expect the reader or the listener to do the work for you, right? So it's the same thing for writing. Okay, so you can see that in productive skills, you really have to be more mindful of what you're doing, right? So that's why it's very important to start slow. Okay, so when you do your homework, don't feel the pressure to write within the limit of the test. So you don't have to write in 20 or 30 minutes, right? You can take as long as you want. You can take like 3 hours, 4 hours. I don't care, right? Doesn't matter. But you should be able to write it in an accurate way. So make sure that the structure is logical, and all of the sentences are connected to each other in a logical way, using cohesive devices, right? And be very careful when you use reference words. Yeah, even higher level students, they still make mistakes in terms of reference words. So this, that, right? So when you use these words, make sure you know what you are referring to, right? Yeah, what is the specific thing in the sentence previous to that you're trying to refer to? So always be very careful. Next one, lexical resource. Be very careful of prepositions, okay? Yeah, prepositions. Yeah. And because in your homework, when you do your homework, you have the freedom of just using whatever reference material you have at your disposal. So I always recommend my students to use the thesaurus, okay, which means từ điển đồng nghĩa. So it's online, it's free. There are many kinds of thesaurus on the internet. So yeah, please make full use of that. However, you have to make sure that the words can really be used interchangeably. Nghĩa là sao? Nghĩa là có những cái từ có thể là về mặt nghĩa, về mặt meaning nó giống nhau. Thế nhưng mà dùng trong cái context đấy có thực sự là có đổi hẳn cho nhau được hay không, có đổi chỗ cho nhau được hay không thì chưa chắc. Right? Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I mean by being careful in terms of lexical resource, really. But always try to vary your vocabulary, right? Don't use just one or two keywords. Always try to paraphrase. And when you do homework, try to do that. Try to make use of the thesaurus to do that. That's what I meant. Okay. Grammatical range and accuracy. So yeah, always be careful of your verb tenses. And yeah, be careful with punctuations, cái sự đặt dấu, dấu chấm, dấu phẩy, dấu gạch ngang, dấu các thứ. Nó là những thứ rất là nhỏ nhưng mà chúng ta sẽ cần phải để ý. Thì đây là những cái thứ mà when I give you feedback, like individual feedback, I'm gonna show it in a more elaborate way. But yeah. Anyways, so even though I say that this is like kind of a reminder for line graph homework, but it's gonna apply to all of the next task types that we're going to study. So yeah, right. So now this today this in this session 15, we'll continue with the next two task types. Okay. So yeah, last time we finished line graph. Now today we continue with bar and pie. Now, let's look at these two bar graphs. So last time, we also worked with two different line graphs, right? One is kind of very simple, only had 3 lines, and the other had, I think, 6 lines. So yeah, it's very different. And then when it comes to bar graphs, today we also have 2 bar graphs. So now, what do you think is the difference between these two?
Yeah. I think difference between the maybe in the bar graph we have so many features more than line graph.
Okay. Right.
And in the
Yeah,
bar
more things, right? More complex. No, I'm sorry, Nga, but I'm my question was, what do you think is the difference between these two bar graphs?
the two paragraph. Uh, yeah, I think two direction is the horizontal and vertical graph.
Okay,
It's
yeah, exactly. In terms of visually, that's how it's yeah, that's a difference.
yeah.
What else?
Uh, mm, in the dynamic graph, we have um so many period of time.
Exactly, that's the difference, right? So you can look at the title or the headline of the paragraph here. They report the number of telephone calls in the UK, right? And from the year 1995, which is my birth year, by the way, until 2002. Okay, so yeah, in the axis, so this is the axis, right? And then this is the y-axis. They show more clearly how, sorry, what the years are. Okay. Okay, what the years are. Yeah, from 1995 until 2002. So there are different years here. That's why it is called a dynamic graph, right? It means that the figures or the bars are presented throughout like a period of time. So it's very dynamic. What does it mean dynamic, Chili? Can you help me? What is dynamic?
It means in this case, I just know it means something like energetic.
Yeah, and the word dynamic has a lot of meanings, but yeah, it can mean energetic, changing a lot, right? So it's not static, it's actually the opposite of static. Static nghĩa là tĩnh, okay? Tĩnh nghĩa là not moving, right? Yeah, so you can see the difference here is that in this bar graph on the right, we don't see any year, no information about time, right? So we can just assume that everything here is reported in a very specific point in time, right? And yeah, it's static. It's only one small point in time. But yeah, for dynamic graph, no, we have a whole period. So yep, that is a difference, right? So but in terms of how we can kind of analyze these two different graphs, we will do the same activity that we did last time. So today we only have 2 students. So I'm not going to put you into breakout rooms anymore. I'm just going to disappear for a little bit. Well, just turn off my webcam basically. Okay, I will send you the sample, okay, the sample reports of these 2 bar graphs, and what you need to do is discuss with each other, and like last time, okay, tell me what is the structure of each of the sample. So in the introduction, what do they do? In the body paragraphs, what do they do? And what do you think is the difference between the way that we analyze the dynamic graph and the way that we analyze the static graph? Okay. So any question? If not, then I'm gonna send you the samples now. Well, while we wait, Ling, I just want to ask you a question. What do you think of the session yesterday?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was actually Fiang's first attempt at like officially tutoring.
He was a bit nervous.
Yeah, I can see that too. But I can see that he was being very serious, you know, like he tried to do it in the best way possible, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
Okay, here. Okay, so please open the file.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, so you can see that on the first page you have the first sample, sample 1, and the second page you have sample 2. So yeah, let's discuss with each other. I think I'm gonna also share the screen with you so that you can discuss. Yeah, so I'm not gonna disappear now. Um, wait, Jiling and Nga, can you write on the screen? You can, right? Can you? Yeah. So yeah, just use this shared screen so that you can talk to each other. Jiling just doodle something, right? Okay, I'm gonna disappear and I'm gonna give you about 10 minutes, right? And then I'll be back. So I'm gonna turn off my video now. My webcam, sorry.
We'll spend some time reading first.
Okay. Okay, just analyze each sample, and please write somewhere that you can save, because you can write as a draft on the screen, but it's not gonna stay there forever. So after you finish brainstorming, yeah, write it somewhere so that we can discuss it even afterwards.
Okay. You finished reading the first graph.
Okay. Let analyze this.
What do you think the structure is?
I think in this edit writing task one, they have divided into two periods of time to 1995 to 1999 and 1999 to forward until after. And so I think need to analyze for the first introduction of the task or the writing task.
Excuse me, go say it again, that sentence.
I mean we have to analyze one by one to introduction, overall, party one and party two, respectively.
I agree. So you already analyzed the two body paragraphs, right?
Uh, not really.
Okay, so the introduction is easy. It's just like
Yeah.
paraphrase. I mean, the overall, the next paragraph is an overall, and
Yeah,
it's
the uh, overall, they have described a trend, such as the highest and lowest trend of the amount of times spent by people in the UK. And the first body, yeah, I'm not almost finished. Body two.
okay.
Please give me a second.
Okay, sorry. Have you finished with sample one?
Okay.
Sorry. I thought you told me to scroll down to sample two. No, right?
Not yet.
Okay.
No.
I'm still here, by the way.
Okay. Have you finished?
What do you think?
Have you finished?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So body one, what do you think? The structure of body one?
Yeah, I agree with what you said at the beginning, that the body is divided into two paragraphs following the two period of time, the first 4 years and the later 4 years. And in each period of time, they will like describe the trend of each type of phone call.
Okay. Each paragraph they describe the highest strand and lowest strand and maybe the upward and downward strand for each uh line of yeah like of category.
Okay. So why did they choose 1999? What do you think?
Hmm?
Why did they choose 1999 as the dividing year?
Why they choose 1990,
As the
1995?
9999 as the dividing year between two periods of time.
Hmm. Mm, yeah, I think they have a point that can divide into two paths. In the 1999, they have reached a peak. It's very, it's highest, um, mm, highest percentage of, oh no, highest the bill. Yeah, what I mean, high proportion.
Figure.
That, yeah, uh, amount time spent by people, uh, using the local fixed line. And I think that a key point that made this chart that made it chart with to para. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I do agree. This is the peak of it's the peak of type of local fixed line, and after that it experienced a downward trend.
And
Okay, I think that's good for sample one. Should we move on to sample two?
okay, let it take a minute to read all.
Okay, I can scroll down if you want.
You don't disappear. You
Okay.
pretend.
I just turned off my webcam. I'm still here.
I look disappointed.
Wait. Are you done with sample one?
Yep.
Okay. Let's turn to sample two. Static. Okay, so this one is different because there are no time period. Okay, so look at how they analyze the data here.
£1,000 sterling. Sorry. The way he describes quite simple compared to it. Look,
What did you say?
I mean, the graph looks quite complicated, but the way the author described it is quite simple.
Dynamic is quite simple than the static. Do you mean?
No, I mean just in this case,
In this case.
writer.
Okay. What do you think about the structure of the static? Static? Static?
Static.
Static.
Static means thing. Okay.
Static.
Yeah,
Okay.
like staying still, Yeah.
Mm.
Good.
Because they don't have any of time period and they call static graph. Okay. What do you think?
Okay, introduction is still the same as other. The overall paragraph describe the highest or the country the country that spend the most among four. Lowest overall spenders. Very nice phrase. In the next graph, they show a contrasting picture between Britain
and Germans. Yeah.
which has the highest and lowest amount of spending.
Amount of heading on photographic film.
No, not only photographic. For Britain, for Britain, only the highest number are shown in the paragraph. And for German, the writer put a average number for each of the six products because they're quite similar. What about the last one? What do you think?
And the last one, they compare to expenditures trend of the French and Italian in terms of photographic film, cities performs, yeah, at the rest of the consumer goods in the two countries. And I think body one and body two, the writer divide into two parts for each couple of country, and they compare to Britain and Germans in terms of the highest expenditures in the photographic in Britain and the others expenditure in Germans and the last body they compare to French and Italy, and I think because this statistic don't have any time period and they divide into the not the feature, what I call, how do I say about the um yeah, that's all.
Okay. Yes, I think we've finished on.
Okay. Did you write down the structures?
No,
Please write down.
we just speak only.
Yeah, but yeah, now that you kind of understand how it is structured, please maybe one of you can be in charge of sample one and one of you can be in charge of sample two. Please help me write down in whatever way, okay? You can write on the computer or you can write by hand and you can take a picture, whatever. But yeah, I will compare that with the with the version that I already have. So let's just see how you are able to summarize it in your own words, because that's going to help you to synthesize information on your own and understand the structure even more.
Okay.
Which one do you choose nha?
I prefer sample 1,
Okay.
dynamic graph. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, just look at the file, use the file that I sent on the chat box, okay? I will share this, I will return to the slides so that we can discuss later. So I will give you about 5 minutes. Is that enough to write down the structure? And then after that,
Can
yeah.
I write in type notes or very pitch or not fully sentences?
Yeah, just very like just write the keywords, you know, like summarize. Just like when you were taking notes for a lecture, you know.
I got it.
Yeah, because the thing that I really hope that we can do after reading the samples is the structure, you know, how we can think because in the real test we only have 15 to 20 minutes to write the whole thing. So it's not a lot of time. So during this preparation time, we really need to master the skill of looking at just a certain graph, and then we know how to analyze. Okay, and if we can kind of have this standard structure in mind already, then we can always extend on it and help us become more confident when we see other kinds of bar graphs. Okay, so dynamic is in charge, Nga, right? Nga is in charge of the dynamic graph, and Qiling will take the static graph. Okay. Now let's start with sample 1, shall we? Sample 1. Intro. Sample 1 is a dynamic graph, right? In which we have a lot of years. Now let's look at the slide and also compare with what Nga has put into the chat box. So introduction, paraphrase, the 3 WH questions, right? What it is, so it's a bar chart. Where, right? In the UK, and when, the period between 1995 and 2002. And then you point out the overall trend. Highest trend, lowest, most dramatic. Very good. Dramatic can also be interchangeable with volatile, right? So this time last week, we also mentioned about the language to describe line graphs, right? So volatile is also, like a lot of fluctuations. That's volatile. So yeah, introduction, very good. Yeah. So in the two bodies, wait. Oh yeah, over a 4-year period, 1995 to 1999. Compare local to national. Okay, yeah, compare. You can see, right? The similar to line graphs. We always have to make comparisons whenever possible. Yeah, so it's and it's also a very effective, very convenient way to kind of group ideas together or group data together, right? So because the ultimate goal here is never to just pick out individual data points to report. So comparing is gonna give the reader kind of a perspective of how the different lines or different bars kind of correlate with each other. So it's always a good idea to compare, right? Okay. Peak upward trend. Okay. Compare. Sorry, this is not supposed to be lines. This is wrong. Compare the bars. Compare the bars. Okay, so very good job. Yeah. Why, before we switch to sample 2, why do you think they chose the year 1999 as the dividing year?
Yeah. As I talked to Linh about yeah, why do they divide into two period of time? Because in the 1999, the local I fixed like reach a peak. That's the very maybe the keynote or maybe the highest highest the
Highest
amount
figure.
time.
Yeah, highest
Yeah.
figure or highest number in the graph. Yeah. So always look at extremes, right? Similar, yeah, for line graphs, we look at, we call it like peak and the lowest points. So because in bar graphs here we see very, what's the word for it again? Vertical bars. Vertical là thẳng đứng, right? Horizontal là nằm ngang. So the amount of like spikiness, cái sự nhọn, đúng không? Is very important. So yeah, this is where we can see the local line kind of hit the peak, right? So yeah, it should be the dividing year so that we can see that in the part left of this period there's a different trend, and the part after, right, on the right of this bar, there's a different trend. So yeah, very good. Now let's come to sample 2, a static graph. So this one does not have any information regarding time, but in terms of writing the introduction, you still have to do the same thing, right? So Chị Linh, in here, you also Chị Linh lười thế. Paraphrase the requirement. But yeah, that's true. So what, where, when, and pay attention to verb tense. Okay, this is something very small, right? It looks like it's very trivial, but it's not trivial at all. Yeah, wait. Okay, the tense, because it doesn't mention anything about time here. What do you think the tense should be? Chị Linh? Không nhìn lại sample nhé.
What's your question?
Because in a static graph, there's no mention of the time, right? The year. So what verb tense should we use?
Oh,
Không nhìn lại sample.
I think it's present.
Okay, in the present. Okay. Nga, do you agree?
I think the tense would be in the past because
Past.
maybe the static graph is statistics in the past they already done. I think when I describe something in the present, we need to divide into past
Okay.
tense.
Okay. Okay, let's look back at the sample to see which tense they use. Okay, look at the introduction. The bar chart compares consumer spending, right? So here the word compares, you can see it's put in the present simple tense, right? Present simple. Bởi vì nói chung là cái introduction thì sẽ luôn luôn là dùng với hiện tại đơn, right? Nhưng mà với những cái làm sao nhỉ? Những cái số liệu, những cái key trend, when they report, always you can see that it is used in, sorry, they use, or it was demonstrated or written in the past tense, because all of these things happened already, and this is like a report to summarize, right? What has happened up to this point. So yeah, it should be in past simple. Nhưng mà cái đoạn intro lúc mà mình giới thiệu chỉ là đang nói về việc là đây là cái gì thôi, thì mình sẽ dùng hiện tại đơn như bình thường. Ok. Đấy, were các thứ đúng không? Đấy, tất cả những cái đều là yeah, spent. Ok. Đấy, nhưng mà mọi người nhìn đấy, nó khá là tricky. Spent just over 170,000 pounds. Tức là đây là cái sự việc đã xảy ra, thế nên nó sẽ là quá khứ đơn. Nhưng mà nhìn cái phần sau này, cái phần mệnh đề sau này, which is the highest figure shown on the chart. Đó, tức là mỗi khi mà mình nói về cái sự việc rồi đã xảy ra mà được thể hiện ở trên bản đồ ấy, thì mình sẽ dùng quá khứ đơn. Nhưng nếu mà mình đang nói về một cái số, mình chỉ một cái số cụ thể ở trong cái bản đồ ấy thôi, thì nó sẽ là phải làm hiện tại đơn. Đấy, rất là cẩn thận. Tức là nhìn mặt Nga kiểu cái gì đấy. Nhưng mà cái này mà sai sẽ bị trừ điểm nhá. Nó rất là nhỏ, rất là subtle. Mọi người nhìn thấy là cái bài này the word count here is only 161, but you can see that they or the sample is able to kind of, you know, inform all of the most important points in the graph, right? So yeah, it's very, very effective. And yeah. So it means that we don't have to write a lot to get a high score. We just need to write accurately, you know, and effectively. So yeah, make sure that you use the tenses in a very careful way, and look at just, yeah, when you proofread, always look at each sentence whether or not we use the right tense. Okay, so now let's look back at the static graph, body one. Sorry, overall paragraph here. Okay, so because this graph is kind of more complex than the first one, even though it doesn't have any time, they kind of divide it into 3 body paragraphs, right? So the first one is to report the most comprehensive trend. So what is a general trend, right? Highest in terms of data shown in 2 axes. Yeah, biggest features, so most significant features, right? Yeah, in terms of the country, in terms of the item of the product choice. And then in the next 2 body paragraphs, they kind of choose they use the consumer country to be the base on which the report is analyzed, right? So for the body paragraph 2, biggest and lowest spenders, and body paragraph 3, yeah, comparing preferences between France and Italy. Okay.
In this example, you call let 3 body paragraphs.
Why do I call it 3 body paragraphs?
The second paragraph, why shouldn't it be overall as the
Yeah,
previous?
this is overall, right? Or well, there are different ways to call it. There's I don't use like a fixed, this can be called first body paragraph, second body paragraph, and third body paragraph. That's okay. But also you can call this like a overall, yeah, the paragraph that showcases the biggest, the most comprehensive trend.
That we need to be the body one. It sounds more reasonable because the information described doesn't sound very overall.
Okay. But yeah, but you can call it body 1 or you can call it the overall body. And then after that, body 1, body 2. Yeah, it's just that the point is that it should be before we go further right into the details, right? So yeah, the logic should be that we narrow down. We try to like kind of, it's always like the tunnel structure in writing, right? Always start with like the biggest things, and we try to go into details a little bit more, narrow it down a little bit. So yeah. Now, what do you think of the bar graphs today? Chị Linh and Nga. Is it more difficult than line graphs?
Quite similar.
Right? Yeah, I think so too. However, there are usually more, yeah, there are usually more data points. Yeah, more figures. So for some people it can be quite complex to summarize. Wait 1 second. Yeah. So this is like the handout, the class handout that we will have. And also some of the exercises in this handout will be your homework so that we can kind of improve on your vocabulary related to these 2 task types. So the first one is bar graph, right? So in bar graph, the point about comparison is even more prominent than line graph. So you should really be able to use different structures, different phrases to compare one thing to another. Okay. So yeah, for example, comparison words like more, less, fewer, greater, lower, higher, smaller, larger. Yeah. Okay. This one is kind of easy. Not too easy, but should be simple enough. So there are 3 questions. Nga, can you help me do number 1 and 2? And Chị Linh, can you help me do number 3? Choose one of the 2, or choose among the options. Diễn tả sự giống nhau và khác nhau.
What am I supposed to do here?
Choose. So wait. Oh, bình tĩnh. Wait. I think, wait, I got it wrong. Sorry, Nga, you do this one, and Chị Linh, you do this one. That's what I meant.
So I choose phrases in the tables above to right in this case?
No, just so okay, so there is more or there is greater or there is less. So now we'll choose one out of these three words. And then here, Chị Linh, you have more and fewer. You choose one of the two words. Just circle the word that answers or that yeah, that should fit the sentence. Đây là kiến thức ngữ pháp về chuyện dùng các cái từ so sánh hơn nhất với danh từ danh từ đếm được và không đếm được.
Ủa? Chứ phải both are correct à?
Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
finished.
That's my yeah. That's my mistake. That's a stupid mistake that I just made. Đúng rồi. Đây không phải là exercise. Đây là phần knowledge. Wait. Yeah, that was stupid of
Vậy
me.
mà em cũng chọn được đấy.
I make stupid mistakes all the time, so don't take everything that I say at face value. You have to be critical of your teacher. I mean, that's a good thing, you know.
Đấy rồi. Em cũng thấy mình stupid ghê. Cũng lại lựa.
Đừng bao giờ tin giáo viên 100% không tốt đâu.
Oh, I believe in you.
Believe you, nó phải có critical thinking. Khoa xem bạn chắc là nó sẽ cười. Wait. Sometimes I do that. Well, yeah, when I teach at a center as well, sometimes I just my mind just like I make the kids do the homework. Do the exercise, and they're like, but there's no exercise to do. Then I look at the slide again, and yeah, that's the part where they summarize the knowledge, and that's not the exercise. I do that all the time. Anyways, wait. So yeah, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so maybe I will send you this this document, and then yeah, please do this exercise for me. Practice. So on page 3 and page 4. Okay. The activity here is to put the words in the relevant column. And also this one, right? Yeah, which of the above do you think are the best descriptions and why? Wait, I will put this in the chat box, and we'll take a longer break than usual. Let's take a 10-minute break, and then during that time you can, bài này không khó đâu, chỉ là review lại những cái kiến thức về ngữ pháp thôi. Yeah, you can do one of the exercises, and then we come back, we'll check together as a class. But I will send the file here so that you can.
We'll do exercise during the break.
Do you want to do that or no? Okay, so then just I will just send the file, take a 5-minute break, and then come back and do the thing together. Yeah, that makes more sense. Never trust your teacher fully, okay?
Okay, I got it.
Đấy, lúc nào cũng hãy xếp được chứ, right?
After this happened today.
Never trust your teacher fully. Never. Wait, 1 second. Okay, here.
We'll have a break now, right?
Wait, see if you can receive my file. You can confirm it, and then yeah, let's take a 5-minute break. Yeah, the exercise will be on page 3 and 4. Yeah, but let's take a 5-minute break and see each other again at 8:55. Okay.